An AEW star is not returning to WWE. Instead, they have re-signed with AEW. Plus, we're going to talk about Tony Khan adding on time to two of their wrestlers. And yes, we are going to discuss WWE trying to bring back another former WWE star who is currently in AEW. And it's all coming up right here on the Ango Show. All right, y'all, this is a big one. I want to kick things off right now with Malachi Black because apparently WWE is interested in bringing him back. Raj Giri, he was the guy that formed or started the Wrestling Inc. He hasn't really been dropping news or anything like that, but he's still kicking it on Twitter. And he came out and reported that Malachi Black's contract will expire soon. Now, in addition to that, the Wrestling Observer newsletter has reported that WWE does reportedly want Malachi Black back in the company. The report is that his deal is up in early 2025, and obviously WWE wants to bring him back. Now, look, here's the thing. I think it's very obvious. I've talked about this a lot in recent months. Malachi Black should be in WWE. He is one of those guys where I think there's been a big question mark about where he actually stands in AEW. And quite frankly, I'm going to just throw this out there. Tony Khan really hasn't booked Malachi Black that well. You know, and Vince McMahon didn't either. Vince McMahon and Tony Khan didn't know what to do with this guy. I don't think they understood him. I think Triple H does. And Triple H has a good track record with booking Malachi Black. Now, with that being said, when his deal ends in 2025, we'll see if he re-signs with AEW. I think that is always a possibility. But if I am Tony Khan and I am going to re-sign Malachi Black, stop with this, booking where you put him on Rampage or Collision from time to time. Literally make him one of your top stars. I think people are really forgetting how great Aleister Black was in NXT, and it almost felt like a sure thing when he was going to AEW after seeing what Vince McMahon did. I think a lot of people expected Tony Khan to do so much more, and he just simply never did. I like Malachi Black, and it really does make sense for him to go back to WWE. His wife, Zelina Vega, works there. Obviously, he's got friends there. I just think it makes more sense for him to be there. Plus, when you combine all of that, when you combine all of that with essentially what has happened in, WWE's past with booking him, it just makes a lot of sense. And listen, this is what I will say. It's my final thought. Malachi Black is not getting any younger. So, ultimately he's a veteran of the game, but if you are going to sign him, this is probably going to be, he's maybe got one or two big contracts left, in my opinion. He's going to get paid very well regardless. I think he's going to go back to WWE. We'll see what happens. I'm excited to see what happens. But you can't count AEW out because Tony Khan is not dumb. And Tony Khan might understand that he should probably change the way he's doing things. With that being said, let's talk about the Lucha Bros. We knew that the Lucha Bros situation was getting very chaotic and very, very questionable. A lot of people really don't know exactly what is happening here. So we are going to discuss this. It's come out that the Lucha Bros are they are going to have time tacked on to Rey Fénix's contract. According to the Wrestling Observer newsletter, Tony Khan made Rey Fénix and Penta significant offers to stay, but they wouldn't sign a new deal with the company, and therefore Tony Khan has decided to add on some additional time to Rey Fénix's contract. It's not being said that it's a full year, but it's close to roughly a year extra. And this is obviously causing a huge ripple in social media. A lot of people are going back and forth as to whether or not Tony Khan should do this. Now, I have spoken about this when WWE does it, okay? And I'm going to make my point very clear here. When WWE tacks on time to an injured wrestler, I have always said, I understand because it's a business and I understand what they're doing is what they feel is best for business, right? However, I don't like it. I never liked it when WWE did it. I'll never like it if WWE does it again. And I sure as hell don't like it when Tony Khan does it. Now, my thing here, because I think a lot of people think I'm targeting AEW for doing this. Tony Khan promised to be an alternative to WWE. Now, let me explain something here. I understand the business aspect of this 1000%. But if I were Tony Khan and I want to be a challenger brand to WWE, it was all about forcing change in the industry. And if I were Tony Khan, what I would do is not tack on added time to contracts. When Tony Khan talks about WWE potentially contract tampering, or when WWE adds on time or keeps talent hostage, if I were Tony Khan, when I make appearances on podcasts, or if I'm on the news, or if I'm on CNN or Fox or whatever it may be, if I were Tony Khan, I would really lead with the discussion being, hey, we're AEW, we're a true alternative to WWE. I started this business venture because I saw the way WWE was treating talent. But I want to do things differently. Our competitor has been known to, potentially contract tamper. When talent get hurt, they add extra time to their contracts. And AEW, we want to do right by our talent, and we want to do right by our talent because we want to change the industry. If I were Tony Khan, that's what I would be doing on my public appearances and podcasts, because the point of AEW existing was to force change in the industry. And this is where I feel maybe AEW is being too much like WWE, and instead of forcing change in the industry, it's now creating this new standard that it is just simply acceptable. And to be honest with you, if I were a challenger brand, I would try to make it really known that our competition is dirty. We're not. We have a fantastic product and a fantastic roster, and we'll always take care of them. But by Tony Khan adding extra time to Rey Fenix's contract, it basically says the opposite. We'll see what happens. Ladies and gentlemen, AEW has re-signed Saraya, and this is a very interesting story. Fightful Select reported that Saraya has re-signed with the company. It is a one-year deal on her new contract. It's slated to go until September 2025. Here's the thing, guys. I'm not going to spoil Collision or anything for you, but Saraya does compete at Collision Grand Slam, and we know that she has a match against Jamie Hayter. And listen, this is what I will say. There's a lot of contracts coming up. Also, it sounds like Dustin Rhodes might be re-signing with the company. This is why I say Tony Khan should be focused on the people who want to be there. The people that genuinely want to be there. If the Lucha Bros don't want to be there, if Malachi Black doesn't want to be there, if Ricky Starks doesn't want to be there, if Miro doesn't want to be there, whoever it may be, if they don't want to be there, be the alternative. Show that you're going to do right by your roster members, because the people who want to be there will re-sign, which is exactly what is happening here with Saraya. Look, I personally don't think they've done much with her, and I'm not going to sit here and act like AEW is, they've booked her incredibly well, but obviously she appears to be happy there. So who am I to say that this is bad or not? At the end of the day, Saraya is a veteran in the wrestling business, and she obviously spent a lot of time away from the ring. So now she's back in the industry. Now she's back and she's able to do what she's able to do, which is a good thing. If she's getting paid and she's happy and she's going to stay for an extra year, there is literally nothing wrong with that whatsoever. It's not like if she went to WWE, it would be any better anyways, just considering how WWE's booking is currently for the women's division. So listen, I'm going to make it very clear and simple and concise. It goes back to what I was saying. The talent that want to be there, re-sign them, give them the good deals, make them feel part of the family. For the people that don't want to be there, let them go. Show the industry that you're the alternative. Don't show them that you have the same practices as the other company. I think WWE will be pressured very hard if AEW were to very publicly make it known that they're treating their talent so much better than WWE. But instead, you don't necessarily hear that, and that's one of the things that I think should definitely change. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, that is the Ango Show.